Hello everyone, how you doing? Assalamu alaikum. We are continuing reading of Friedrich Nietzsche's Thus Spoke Zarathustra. Pretty witty writer, pretty nerdy. It's always important to diversify what you read so that you don't get burnt out on any one topic. And remember, don't listen to someone's opinion about a book or a person whom they haven't really read. Okay? Read about. And scanning it like this, oh, I understand. It's not sufficient. Listening to a lecture where someone talks about Nietzsche, but you yourself have not read it, or listened to it being read, you don't really know what you're talking about. So always get wisdom and opinions from the right kinds of people. Not people who really diminish exploration. Let's begin. We were dealing with this section titled On the Preachers of Death. Go ahead and listen to this as you are riding your bike, watering your garden, fixing your fan, Windexing your windows, whatever fun thing it is that you're doing. They encounter a sick man, or an old man, or a corpse, and they immediately say, life is refuted. But only they themselves are refuted, and their eyes, which see only this one face of existence, I like that, their eyes, which see only this one face of existence, shrouded in thick melancholy, and eager for the little accidents that bring death. Thus they wait with clenched teeth. Now, clenched teeth, if you ever had clenched teeth, it's quite taxing and can give you a migraine. It shows the tension in the body when you clench your teeth like that. Or they reach for sweets while mocking their own childishness. They clutch the straw of their life and mock that they still clutch a straw. Oh, that's funny. That's true. Their wisdom says, a fool who stays alive, but such fools are we. And this is surely the most foolish thing about life. Well, is it foolish to stay alive? I'd say not. Because life is fleeting, true, and you shouldn't grasp to it, but you should live it. And you shouldn't long for death, because then you miss out on the joys of life, I'd argue. Life is only suffering, others say, and do not lie. See to it then that you cease. See to it then that the life which is only suffering ceases. Yeah, if you are suffering, there will become relief, we know as Muslims, but the more you endure, the stronger you become, the more glorious it is that you survived. And let this be the doctrine of your virtue. Thou shalt kill thyself. Thou shalt steal away. No. No, thank you. Thou shalt endure is what I'd say. Lust is sin, says one group that preaches death. Let us step aside and beget no children. Ah, this is an interesting contrast. Lust is sin, and then they have no children. I think that's a jab at the Catholics. The priests who don't have heirs, right? But in Islam, family is promoted. Children are promoted. So, avoid lust, we Muslims say, and enjoin in a proper union with your wives or wife, and have children, and exercise that energy in the proper ways. Not with OnlyFans chicks or nasty streetwalkers in San Francisco who probably have AIDS. Giving birth is troublesome, says another group. Why go on giving birth? One bears only unfortunates. Aha! This is an interesting feminist note. The pain, they don't want to deal with it. And they're saying, well, this world is so horrible, why should we have children, and we might as well not breed. I had a stepmom like that. And it's only suffering, so why would I bring a child into this world to suffer? You don't know the destiny of your child. There is nothing more magnificent in this world, in my humble opinion, than being pregnant at 21 weeks. You can feel your little one move. It's one of the best things ever that Allah has given us, and we should cherish it and sustain it, regardless of the pain and the trouble. And they too are preachers of death. So what are we getting at here? This is very important. Who is preaching death? Well, the one who says, beget no children. Because to have children is to keep creating life. Without that, they are preachers of death. Today, you have the abortion lovers. They are a death cult. They love death. Even if they don't see it, they do. Because they're exterminating life, degrading pregnancy. Pity is needed, says the third group. Take from me what I have. Take from me what I am. Life will bind me that much less. If they were full of pity through and through, they would make life insufferable for their neighbors. Really? How so? Let's see. If they were full of pity, maybe because when you look at someone in that condition, it would just mentally disturb you, be so unpleasant to look at. To be evil, that would be their real goodness, but they want to get out of life. What do they care? That with their chains? Oh, I see. But they want to get out of life. What do they care? That with their chains? In presence they bind others still more tightly. That one is a little bit paradoxical. A little bit more cryptic, wouldn't you say? And you too, for whom life is furious work and unrest, are you not very weary of life? Are you not very ripe for the preaching of death? Now this is an interesting example here. Ripe for the preaching of death. Life of furious work and unrest, weariness, and that they are, okay, this is really psychological here. If you notice, Netflix likes to, there's a lot of death now. Jeffrey Dahmer, all these sickos, the fetishization of serial killers and stuff. It's been like that since the 90s, but Netflix was founded by a relative of Edward Bernays, who was the father of propaganda. And this death cult that is occurring more and more through secular liberal atheists who serve the occultic agenda. We see them aim at those who are tired from work, the working class people, and get them to have a sort of death wish of misery, instead of trying to make them feel content with what they have, instead of trying to get them to see that materialism, vanity, lust, and hedonism is not the way out, but the preaching of death through its various veils is easier to do upon people who toil a bit more than others. All of you too, whom furious work is dear, and whatever is fast, new, and strange, you find it hard to bear yourselves. Your industry is escape. Now that is an interesting one. Furious work is dear, fast, new, strange, and that those types, they're almost escaping themselves and occupying themselves, distracting themselves to the point where they don't have introspection, but rather they're so busy they get lost in the rhythm and the beat of work. Your industry is escape and the will to forget yourselves. Others have pointed that out. I'm definitely sure there are some people who do that. If you believe more in life, you would fling yourselves less to the moment. But you do not have contents enough in yourselves. for waiting, and not even for idleness. So they want to busybody themselves. They're always upon something. They don't have enough patience to enjoy the moment or to be idle. They're simply just trying to escape their own minds constantly. Everywhere, the voice of those who preach death is heard, and the earth is full of those to whom one must preach death. That's fascinating. So, that almost seems like he gets you in the first line by saying those who preach death, the voices are heard across the earth, but also are those to whom it must be preached to. Gets you with both sides of the coin there. Or eternal life, that is the same to me, if only they pass away quickly. Thus spoke Zarathustra. Pass away quickly. I can take that in two ways. Wishing those people who speak about it to just hurry up and go back, or for them to have a quick death, where they don't wither and rot and decay slowly and suffer a most unfortunate death, or demise rather. Okay, the news section is titled On War and Warriors. We do not want to be spared by our best enemies. Oh, do we though? I don't know about that. I don't know if I want to... I mean, there is that desire to overcome your best enemy, right? Depends. Ooh, that's a tricky one. Nor by those whom we love thoroughly. So you don't want to be spared love, but you don't want to be spared the contest. You feel that? So let me tell you the truth. My brothers in war. That's an interesting one. My brothers in war. I love you thoroughly. I am and was of your kind, and I am also your best enemy. So let me tell you the truth. I know of the hatred and envy of your hearts. You're not great enough to know hatred and envy. That's an interesting insult. You're not great enough to know hatred and envy. I never heard that before. Be great enough then to not be ashamed of them. Now we know hatred and envy do occur because of our inequities. Because we try to measure ourselves sometime to a very hard standard. And we desire some sort of compensation of fairness that eludes us quite often. But we must be careful with our evil eye, because we might strike someone who didn't deserve it. And we must understand that all provision, aka all bounty, comes from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And you'll be tested with and without wealth. And the true rewards lie in paradise, and the glitz and glamour of this world are not things to measure yourself against consistently. There are other ways to find contentment and see the blessings that Allah has given you in your life. So, we must be careful how we read this. And if you cannot be saints of knowledge, nice. At least be its warriors. Warriors of knowledge, interesting. They are the companions and forerunners of such sainthood. So that's a very interesting example here. That the warriors of knowledge are the companions of the saints of knowledge, and that the warriors of knowledge are the forerunners of the sainthoods of knowledge. You're combating ignorance and slashing through lies, taking on the arrows. Through that strife and struggle, you become more wise through the push and pull, the pressure, the unveiling of ignorance, which is painful sometimes. Through every wound that you get, symbolically and literal, through the pursuit of knowledge, will help you to level up. How can one truly be a saint of knowledge if they haven't taken some arrows for it and really grasped it and tried to pursue it? I see many soldiers. Would that I saw many warriors. That is a unique line. A soldier versus a warrior. Soldier is someone enlisted, but not every soldier is a warrior, because the warrior has endured, has won many battles, right? They can take some slings, they can take some hits, and they know how to press, and they know how to be pressed. They have a bit more of a finesse in the art of war. One can have many soldiers, but not very many warriors. Uniform one calls what they wear. Would that what it conceals were not uniform. That is a very clever line. Now your uniform, what you wear on the outside, you're all the same. What he's getting at, that what the uniform conceals, your inner self, make it not uniform. However, there's a difference here. The uniform of the mind upon the mission, the uniform in skill. If they're mediocre soldiers with no tact, with no surprising will and spontaneity in combat, this can make everything less. If you have a dull uniformity versus a high uniformity of excellence, of exceptional means, you can read that both ways. So clever. You should have eyes that always seek an enemy. Oh my God. That is a very powerful line right there. Your enemy. And some of you hate at first sight. Your enemy you shall seek. Your war you shall wage for your thoughts. I like that line. That's actually pretty clever. Now, you don't want to seek out problems, but I mean, I can admit to doing that. You go into a room, you look around. It's like your eyes scan for a survival mode. Think about it. We used to be walking in the desert, the forest, wherever. Our eyes are constantly seeking out danger. From bugs to snake in trees, you name it. We're seeking something out. Competitors, also friends, don't get me wrong. But this is interesting. And you hate at the first sight, but you'll wage your thoughts of war. Like if I go into a room and I see a blue-haired feminist, it's like, all right, we're gonna wage war up in here. Very fascinating, very unique. On War and Warriors, I like that section. And the Preachers of Death section was also really unique. Let me know what you think.